Chapter 46. We stayed in the town for 3 days without food or water. We were prohibited from leaving the building. Nazi soldiers guarded the door. I was hungry and thirsty. I must have been very dirty. The bread we had brought was gone. And who knew when we were going to have more food? The Russian army was following us to try to save us. The soldiers told us that we were going to have another selection. The Nazi soldiers were doing the selection, the weak to the left, those who were healthy to the right. My father was sent to the left. I ran after him. The soldiers ran after me, and there was confusion. I brought my father to the right. We left the camp. We waited at the train station. The soldiers gave us some bread. We began to eat bread with snow. The soldiers were watching and laughing at us. Finally, a train of cattle cars came. The Nazi soldiers pushed us inside, 100 people in each car. We were so skinny. Finally, we left. Chapter 47. We were inside the cattle cars again. My father was next to me. I yelled at him. He did not say anything. He was not moving. I was angry. Without my father, there was no reason to live, any reason to fight. The train stopped. The Nazi soldiers shouted, "Throw out all the dead bodies, outside, all the bodies." The prisoners were happy to have more space inside the cattle car. "Here's one, take him," said a prisoner. 2 men tried to take my father. I threw myself on top of his body. He was cold. I slapped him. I moved his hands, crying, "Father, Father, wake up. They are going to throw you outside." His body did not move. The 2 men said, "Leave him alone. Can't you see that he is dead?" "No," I yelled. "He's not dead, not yet." I started to hit my father, harder and harder. Finally, my father opened his eyes. They were like glass. He was breathing very softly. "You see," I cried. The 2 men went away. They threw 20 bodies from the train. Then the train began to move again. In the snow, there were hundreds of naked corpses without a tomb. Chapter 48. We did not get any food. We lived on snow. It took the place of bread. It never stopped snowing. We were nothing but frozen bodies. We traveled for many days and nights. Sometimes we passed through German towns. German Christians saw us as they waited for their jobs. They did not look surprised. One day when we were stopped, a Christian German took a piece of bread out of his bag and threw it into the train. The prisoners were fighting like crazy for the bread. The Christian German was interested. In the train where the man threw the bread, a war began. Like animals, the prisoners began to fight for the piece of bread. A group of German people went next to the cattle car. Soon they threw more pieces of bread into the train from all sides, and the German people watched these dying animals ready to kill for a piece of bread. A piece fell into our cattle car. I decided not to move. I knew that I was not strong enough to fight off the violent prisoners. I saw an old man moving away from the group of fighting prisoners. He was holding one hand to his heart. At first, I thought he was hurt, but then I understood. He was hiding a piece of bread under his shirt. He took the bread and smiled. Suddenly, someone started hitting him. Surprised, the old man was crying, "Son, my little son, don't you know me? You're killing your father. I have bread for you too." He fell to the ground, but his hand was still holding a small piece of bread. He wanted to eat it, but another man threw his body on the old man. The old man made a sound and died. Nobody cared. His son took the piece of bread and began to eat it. But 2 men were watching the son. They jumped on top of him. When the cattle car stopped, there were 2 dead bodies next to me, the father and the son. I was 16.